All right, we're going to be doing roster review with Dulom. How are you doing, my guy?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
How long have you been playing Raid Shadow Legends?
We are at the 2-week mark today.
Okay.
And I am loving it, so I'm really happy so far.
So you have shared with me a couple things, and we're going to go into your account here in a moment, and I feel like you are in a very good starting place based on conversations I've had with other players, because Raid Shadow Legends is a complicated game. I'm just going to put that out there. It's a lot to wrap your head around, and there's a lot of nuance to it. Now, if you haven't done so already, there's going to be a link in the description, or scan the QR code that's right next to his big old forehead, and you're going to get...
It's massive, sorry.
Corrado Fox Hunter, legendary right out of the gate. Then you're going to get Ugo when you get to level 15. And then my suggestion is to use promo code Monkey King. We're going to come back to that, because we're going to have a small conversation about Monkey King here to get the legendary Sun Wukong. Important. Have to do this within the first 24 hours. And you can only use one promo code in the first 24 hours. So, and you'll get Sun Wukong. And then also, if you start playing the game today, starting on April 10th through May 4th, there is a calendar where if you log in, you will get, I don't know how to say his name, Ugo Arto. I don't know how to say his name, but he's amazing. Anyways, another legendary. So we're talking 3 legendaries and 1 epic. Now, if you go over to your channel, I'm going to toggle over to your screen right here. You have been talking about Supreme Gallic, Supreme 6, which is a... you actually have a choice. I've been telling everybody to use Monkey King, but at your channel, you're going to make a case to get Supreme Gallic, which is a Void champion. I'm still telling people to do Sun Wukong. So if you're curious to hear about Supreme Gallic, link to your channel will be in the description. So, are you ready?
I am. Let's do it. Where do you want to go first? Where are we roasting first?
Okay, so the thing that I tell everybody when they start playing Raid Shadow Legends, because there's a lot, is to start with the missions and to look at the missions. And you are level 39. And tell me what your experience has been with the missions, because it kind of forces you to understand the game. It's like the tutorial. It's like I don't know if I could get through any of it without doing the missions, right? So what's your experience with missions?
Yeah, so the first 15 levels is the actual tutorial of the game, right? And then at that point, that's when you're going to unlock Ugo with Boomer's Code, which is amazing support character, by the way, probably the best epic in the game, honestly. And after that, they kind of push you out of the bird's nest, and they just go, hey, figure it out. And the best place I've told people to go is go to the missions tab and start working on these Arbiter missions. So you can see I'm already on part 2, and I'm 45 out of 75 of the way there. And the rewards you get from these are honestly, they're awesome, and they act as kind of like a faux tutorial for you. So they tell you you get to go to like Magic Keep to get magic potions, and then you've got a 3-star missions, and then you've got to go to the dungeon in Minotaur's Labyrinth, and it teaches you the mechanics of the game without just like an excessive amount of reading. So it actually like reinforces it over and over and over again. And I've been shocked at how much I've learned by just doing those missions, and it hasn't felt overwhelming. It's actually felt like the perfect way to learn the game. And I love it. I love the Arbiter missions. Yeah.
So a couple things. Arbiter missions are important also because you unlock Arbiter. And this is what blows my mind about Raid Shadow Legends is Arbiter is absolutely one of the best characters in the game, dominant in arena, useful in many, many, many game modes. And it's likely that you will get here if you plan the missions. We're going to talk about some things about the missions that I think will slow down people's progress. This is a day 1 character that came out since the start of Raid Shadow Legends, still incredibly useful, a game changer. She also made my experience in Live Arena, which you haven't got to yet. That's at level 50. Live Arena was somewhat frustrating without Arbiter, and we don't need to get into a lot of details, but I just want to say that she's very good. Now, the 2 bottlenecks, there's several bottlenecks inside of the Arbiter missions. So Justicar. Now, this is one that, strangely enough, I don't want to, I'm going to blow up somebody right here. So that's very end. Fusing Justicar. So
Yep, right here.
Someone that I know that has been playing the game 7-8 months. did not know that you could farm the characters for Justicar, and did not have Arbiter. And so go into Fusion right there, and then this is under Relic Keeper, and there is Justicar. You're kind of in the way there. But there are 4 champions underneath you, and all 4 of them, click on any one of them.
Yeah, so we got the 4 here, so you need all of them.
War Maiden, yeah, there you go. Anyways, all of these, click on War Maiden or any one of them so you can see the locations where to find. Like on one that you don't have. Click on the one that you don't have.
So this
there you
one,
go.
Spirit Host, I don't have. Yeah.
So it says Durham Forest, right? So all 4 of those characters can be farmed. Now go into your campaigns.
Yeah, so I mean, you could just click on that too, and it takes you directly
right
to it,
so,
which is great. You don't even have to go back and find it. It's amazing. And then you see here one of the rewards is Spirit Host.
Yeah, this is not going to just show up easily. You might have to play a lot, but it's not that complicated. Then you take them up to 33 purples, fuse them together, then you're going to get through the Justicar. Now, the next one that creates a lot of problems with people is in the Great Hall. Go into your Great Hall, which is on the main screen at the very, very top.
Yep.
All right, so you're already doing whatever. Okay, so you're already doing blue accuracy. So the correct way to play the game if there was not a quest would probably to go wide rather than tall. And so what that means is to spread out and do the HP, the attack, the defense, the crit damage, whatever, on the characters that you're using the most, right? You just kind of go and pick it. But that is not the best way to get through the Arbiter missions. There is one at the very end, deep into the process, that requires it to be at level 10. So like your blue accuracy, which is probably the best one, by the way. I don't know if you heard that somewhere, but that is a thing. Because
absolutely,
because Kale is going to be blue accuracy, and then you may have other characters with accuracy, but in general, most people have picked Kale as their first starting champion, which is I think a big deal. And accuracy is so understated in the game to its level of importance in the game, and I think that a lot of people that are starting to play Raid Shadow Legends understand how important speed is. Turn-based games, speed beats speed, right? But
absolutely,
no, it's not intuitive how important accuracy is. So talk a little bit about that. And what I mean by tall is you need to get up to 10, and that takes forever. Because it scales weird. Like, it's really easy to go to 1, really easy to go to 2, but then it just goes whoa, and it's just like
it starts skyrocketing. Here you see the numbers behind you there. Yeah. So
ahead, talk about accuracy.
It's essentially like focus, right? So it's making sure you're landing your debuffs. And one of the things that I'll talk about when we're talking about Supreme Gaelic is he has that speed decrease, and you talked about speed being king in this game. It really is. That's why Arbiter is one of the best characters in the game still, because Arbiter gives 30% speed with her aura, which is ridiculous. So accuracy is going to be helping pretty much every single character. You can even use it on, and like you said, with Kale, with the poison for clan bosses. And then that's why I did one on Void as well, because I did Supreme Gaelic, and he's Void, so I did the accuracy there as well. It's just you want to land those debuffs, because that's what helps you snowball the matches, gets that decreased speed, gets those decreased offense, all those kind of debuffs that are really, really important on landing. And then I think personally, you could tell me if I'm wrong, right? This is probably the first roast here. I think HP is probably the next best, because HP is going to affect everyone. Because like attack, you have a lot of characters that are just support and healing and stuff like that. So attack isn't going to affect all of your roster. I feel like HP is the only other one other than like resistance that's going to affect your entire roster. And you can tell me if I'm wrong, but after accuracy, I was looking at HP.
Okay, so that's a complicated thing. Well, first of all, I think you're dead on about accuracy or attack. Attack only affects certain character's attack, and believe it or not, crit damage is probably superior to attack. It's just that simple. Crit damage is superior to attack. So typically on all of your damage dealers, the idea is to take them to 100% crit and then max out crit damage, and then not be as focused on whatever stat their damage is based off of. Some characters' damage stats are based off of HP, other ones attack, other ones defense. And for that reason, attack is not that important, because, a defense damage-based character doesn't care about attack at all. In fact, it's a dead stat on them. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And even
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
nukers like Alice, right? It's not that important. It's the crit chance and the crit damage is way more important than that. Now, you mentioned HP. HP and defense, I think they're equally important in that sense. I'm going to stand by accuracy and speed are the two most important stats in the game, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just accuracy and speed. And the thing about Raid Shadow Legends is that almost a large percentage of characters, and I'm going to say the ones that do not need accuracy are few and far. Very few characters do not need accuracy. Almost all of them have some sort of effect that does that accuracy resistance check. And the character is doing nothing or not doing what they're supposed to do if they're not landing the negative effects. And I don't want to say that there's a universal number that everybody needs to get to, but at some point, when you get towards later in the game, most of the characters are not functional with less than 225 accuracy, let's say. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
It's just like it's some, but then there are certain areas of the game where you have to ramp up to 500. You know what I mean? So there's no general rules on that, but more is better than none. And if you have not enough, then you're not going to get where. And if you're playing Kale and you're not landing him, you're going to need a couple hundred to do the higher difficulties of Clan Boss, but probably the early ones, it's not as important. But if you go tall into accuracy, now let's look at your Kale. That's what I wanted to look at first.
Yeah,
just to
let's do it.
See where Kale is, and hit the info button next to total stats right here.
Yep, I gotcha.
All right, let's see. We got speed at 129. That's abysmally slow, but probably all you can do. Let's see what your accuracy is. 55. Yeah. All right. Let's see your crit rate. Okay. So let's go look at his artifacts and just see what you're doing. So click on the boots. The boots first. Okay, speed. Great. Now let's look. Yeah, that's great. Let's look at the chest. HP fine. Let's look at the gloves. Attack. Okay. You can do that. That's fine. I'm not finding that I'm using the attack percent gloves, but you got to do what you're gonna do. So in general, and then go look at the substats on the 5 that are not boots. So
the 5 that are not boots. So we got substats here. We got some speed here.
There you go.
Which is good.
Okay.
We got defense, HP, and attack. 2 attack here, HP percent.
Okay.
A little bit of accuracy here, and then we also have attack here.
All right. So click filter on your artifacts right there, and then click on the 5 that are not boots. Yeah, and then go down to substat, and click speed. Those are the artifact pieces you want to focus on. And specifically, I think the speed ones there, it looks like you've got right there, the speed sets. Yeah, generally at the start of the game, you're kind of ignoring the sets. I'm going to say that the speed set by far is the best. Now click on those 4 speed set ones right there. Yeah, that's great. Then you keep just click on them. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take what you can get. And in general, I see you have one at 16 right here. I wouldn't do that. I'll tell you and I'll tell you why. So you have a limited amount of silver at the start. Like it's super, super scarce. And the cost of taking them to 8 is nearly nothing. I mean, it's like under 100,000. And then going up to 12, maybe between 200 and 400,000. Going to 16 can be like 1 to 2 million. It's so click on Alice. Click on Alice?
So I do have some 16s here because this I got for free. So from the calendar, and they have decent stats on them. So this one has like attack percent damage. It gives you some crit damage, some accuracy.
Actually, that's a good one right there. You're probably fine.
This one boots speed stat obviously, and then crit rate. This is a really good one. And then attack, just flat attack here, which isn't the best, but not bad. This one I haven't taken to 16 because just HP. So yeah. All right. And then I have more speed on this too.
So my suggestion is to not be thinking about 16 that much, except for 6-star speed boots.
Okay,
6-star
gotcha.
because the you know how they have like a common, they have a rare, like that's a common right there. It's a common, but the primary stat on a speed boost goes up based off of the stars, and a 6-star speed boot is going to have the same speed as a legendary or an epic. It's in the same, but it's so on boots, as far as speeds, the stars is what manage. So if you stumble across a 6-star speed boot, that would be one of the first pieces of gear that I would consider taking to 16. And I think if you come across a 5 boot, you're going to want to take that to 12 right away. And I believe that a 5, like, well, sort your boots real quick. Hit filter, filter boots, and then primary stat speed, and then see what's the
stat speed.
Yeah, primary stat speed. Yeah, those are going to be super scarce. Like, those are your speed ones. Then what is your highest star? Well, you got a 4-star one up there. You got a 4-star speed.
I had a 4-star on the
the speed ones.
One.
Like, go up. There's a okay, look at those 4-star speed ones right there. Yeah, taking those up to 6. Like, I'm gonna guess that a 12 on that is better than 16 on a 3, or it's really close.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So the stars are really important then, for sure.
On the speed stats
on the speed stat, yeah.
So unfortunately, the top 3, like the top 3, the very top 3, the primary stats are fixed always. So and they're flat. And so there is but if you whenever you have the option of using percent stats over flat stats, this could be bigger. So, but generally, all you're looking for on the top one is substats and stars, and you know what I mean. Like they're kind of mindless.
Yeah, this one had a triple roll of speed for speed stats. So I was
moly!
Like, that's kind of nuts.
Okay, so no, that's a piece of gear that you're going to use for a long. No, that's something. That's something I would lose my mind over right there. That is such a good piece. Like
triple speed, 1 accuracy. I saw that and I was like, huh, that's pretty good.
Take that to 16. Now, hit upgrade real quick. Do you have glyphs or access to glyphs yet? Hit enchant.
Maybe.
Hit enchant.
I do have some glyphs.
Well, those are not super great, but if you wanted to make it a little bit faster, you could get an extra 2 speed out of it right there.
Right. And the glyphs are from the Faction Wars, correct?
Faction Wars, and then also the zoom out of it. I don't know what it's called. It's Forge Pass. Forge Pass is going to be kind of important right there. Anyways, so like you can see the pass right there. It says 1D 3 days. Okay, that is in general. Now something we were talking about, and this is when we started, and there's a bunch more stuff, but I wanted to do this one a little differently than the other ones. We were talking about like upgrading and like how getting a 60 is so important, and 60s are probably twice as good as a 50. Like run, don't walk, take one of these 2 to 50. And then I was asking you about red stars, and I didn't realize that red stars didn't unlock until 42. Yeah, Altasaurus is where you're going to get the red stars. So if you get to level 42 and then you participated in all the events to get Alice, and you did the 14 days and did the activities to get her all up and running, there's the Alice chase, then you're going to get a 5 Alice, but this is not going to be in game anymore because everything is going to be toggling to this right here and this guy, but whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But at 42s, you're going to do that. Now, there's something I wanted to say though is I would recommend not using epics or legendaries as food, and the only thing to do is, some commons are useful. One uncommon is useful, and I don't think there's a single common that's exceptional. There might be some that are okay, right? But generally, they're all food, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, this is the only rare that I've really taken up at all, because I didn't have a support character, and I saw a lot of advice of people saying War Priest was pretty good early game, and it's probably the best rare support early game. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll put some into her before I get some more support characters, because she's got a decent kit, right? And I've got a bunch of tomes laying around once I took Kale up, so I was like, why not? Cool.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing her.
You're not gonna have to worry about rare tomes, rare books, epics.
Yeah.
to a certain degree, yes. And then legendaries, oh yeah, do research. Like they're valuable, right? You got to be either.
You want to see something that hurts too?
What's that?
Go
Oh,
to the
you
skills
missed
here.
it?
I did,
Oh my god,
I
you
did
missed
3
it.
books and it went all on A1.
Well, if you do 3 at a time, I think it all goes into one skill. You have to, if you do them individually,
Yeah.
spread it out. But anyways, so my suggestion is focus right now, laser focus on taking one of these to 60 because 60s are so much better than 50s. And the 160 that you take with their Alice or Kale, I probably say Alice because you're going to get the red stars when you get to 42. Just like 60s are so much more important, like not even close. Now, duplicate characters. So go out to the main page of the Bastion or whatever it's called, and then click on Guardian Ring and Faction Guardians. So, all right. So there are so many things you can do with duplicates. Now, the one thing to not do with duplicates is use them as books. I don't know if you knew that. Like if you get a Kale and you get a duplicate Kale, you can use them as a book. I'm just gonna say that's the worst choice.
Interesting. Okay.
That's the worst choice that you could do with a duplicate. Now, because there's no common and uncommon books, and there is one uncommon that I use, Armiger or something like that. He's pretty good, but he's very narrow and focused. But other than, if you want to book out an uncommon or a common, you have to use duplicates. But and believe me, they're so abundant it doesn't matter. So what this Faction Guardians is probably my top recommendation for putting characters in here because it's completely reversible.
Oh,
okay. So all of this is not permanent. So when you take a character, which you should never do, by the way, and book it into your same character, the character disappears forever, and there's little to no long-term benefit other than a book. And rares are super abundant. Okay. So when you get a duplicate, you put them in here, and you're not going to be able to do that. Just click it, but when you do get a duplicate in here, you can load them up, and then you're going to get boosts in there that affect their rarity. So like High Elf Guardians, the first time that you put a pair in there, all of your rares will get the following stats, and it runs up to over here being speed.
The speed, yeah.
So like it's going to be super easy to do these right here, and so like it's super easy. To do the commons, like the commons will happen naturally over time. And what I do is whenever I would say at the start, you want to get to a 60 first, like that's probably a higher priority than worrying about this down here. And the idea would be to, if there was a character like Kale and you got which is a dark elf, right? If you got double rares, then you're going to want to throw them in here, and then you're going to want to put them in one of the vaults. You know what the vaults are, or how the vaults work?
Oh, right. No, how does that work?
Right, so go into the Bastion, the Champions tab, right there, and then underneath
the vault.
They're right behind you. There it says Champion Vault, and then there's a vault, and there's 2 different vaults. There's a Master Vault and a Reserve Vault. The Master Vault, it can be used for characters with gear. And Reserve Vault will be they can't have any gear. So if you go so like if you have a character that you're gonna like, when you start putting people into the Faction Guardians and you don't want to ever use them because you don't want to use them for food, you start throwing them in the vault. And
gotcha. Okay.
And then there's also a trick too. You know how you don't ever want to remove gear. You don't ever want to remove gear when because it costs silver, right? But once a month, there's about a 3-day period where they allow you to remove gear.
Yep.
Sometimes also you will get items that'll let you do it for 1 hour, which is not enough time. And so what I've done is you can see the Master Vault right there. Or what I've done, no, never mind the Master Vault. What I've done is I've selected so I turn on the 1 year remove piece, right? And then I select, and then if I want to remove all the gear on all my roster in one single step, because I don't have enough time to do it in the 1 hour, and then I'm just going to re-gear the characters over the next couple of days, let's say, I will select every character in my roster and move all of them into the Reserve Vault. And you can't have gear in the Reserve Vault. So it says, do you want to remove the gear or do you want to destroy the gear? Normally it would say pay the silver to remove the gear, but because it'll be turned on, then in one button you can remove all the gear at once. Which
Oh, nice.
yeah, but like just collect Kale right now. Just collect him and then put to reserve vault, and then it'll say remove
gotcha.
or destroy. You don't want to hit destroy. Holy moly!
Right.
Hit
Yeah,
X.
don't do that.
Yeah.
No.
No. All right. So the two things that we talked about is if you get a duplicate you use as a book, don't do that. You can put them in the faction guardians, which is completely reversible, and if there's a character that you want to keep in the reserve vault, you put them in there in the reserve vault forever. So there's going to be epics that you get that are not good. There are going to be epics that you get that are not good. I had to say it twice. You just put, and when you get a dupe, you just put them in the reserve vault. Like I don't want to upgrade this character. That's fine. But someday you'll get a duplicate and they go into the reserve vault. Then when you get the reserve vault full, you can start empowering characters. Get ready for this, empowering characters. So dip out of this right here and go back. Another layer. So this is like the last thing. Go into the Guardian Ring, and then the third tab will be empowered champions. So like select all that main one right there that's got 4,000 power.
Yep.
And then select the other one, and it's going to ask you to unlock it. Well, you don't need to do that. Don't worry about that. Yep. But you can see if you clicked it and you put him up into, he'll go into the box over on your side. I can't touch all the way over there, and he'll get extra stats. And you see where the little 0 is and the up arrow is. He'll become empowered. You really don't want to do that because it's permanently. So let's imagine, let's just talk about epics, right? Imagine there's a time where you fill out the entire faction guardians, right? They're all full, right? And you're getting all the extra stats, every single one of your purples in that faction and getting the stats. Then you start getting more than enough to fill that. Then you start looking at your damage dealers and you start empowering your damage dealers. Now, imagine doing this on legendaries. Imagine doing this on, it just doesn't happen. Like this is such a long-term. So like this is such a long-term play that they have fusion events on characters, right? And fusion events on characters, sometimes the character is good, sometimes the character is okay. Long-term players are like, even if it's a bad fusion, I'm going to do it anyways. I'm hoping to fill up my faction guardians.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay, so they're always good just to fill out the faction guardians no matter what.
Well, yeah. Well, if you get a duplicate, and they're just praying to get a duplicate on that character. So legendaries and epics, you kind of just want to save no matter what because you can use them in your faction guardians. Hopefully, they're helping your other ones. And I think that's it. I don't know if we got anything else today. Anything that what have you picked up in the first 2 weeks that you thought was something that was kind of confusing?
Speed is key, right? Like that's a big thing. Even in PvE, like speed is really, really big because you can lap like the dragon bosses and you can lap other PvE characters, and especially with like lifesteal is really big because you can like be at 1 health and then you take 2 turns in a row and you're back to full health and you're good to go. So that was a really big thing. Getting into a clan super early was massive as well. Like, and then doing clan bosses. There's so many rewards here that are just like ridiculously good. And I just got into a clan with a friend of mine who helped out and just one-keyed the normal boss for me on their smaller account so that I'll get double rewards. And like they're all the way at like brutal and nightmare. So once I work up to them, I'll be getting double rewards the second I get to up there. So getting into a clan that can really kind of carry you and is okay with carrying you to begin with is so awesome.
This is the most effective, easiest rewards that you get on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like early, and now I'm one-keying Ultra Nightmare, which then I don't have to play it every day because then you could sim it. Otherwise, it was taking a lot of time. But I get sacred shards out of them. I get legendary books. I get epic
legendary
books. I mean, it's random, but it's like the amount of rewards is bonkers in there. It's
but it's every day too,
every day.
It's and you get it doubled if you kill the boss. So like the amount of rewards you're getting, like you're getting 14 of these a week, and yes, it's completely random, cool, whatever. But like rarely do you get something you just don't need. Like you're always getting something useful. You just don't know what it's going to be, which is completely fine with me. I need everything.
You need everything. Yeah,
it's awesome. I think getting into a clan early and really focusing on clan bosses is something that's key, which is why I picked Kale, because Kale has poison. And one of the reasons, which we'll allude to it a little bit, why I think Supreme Gaelic's a really good pick. And we'll talk about that in my video, won't we?
And that's fine. Okay, so clan boss, yes, absolutely very important. There's so many other little things in there, and we kind of went on a tangent, which I fully expected to, but we're pushing 30 minutes, so we're going to wrap up the video. If you haven't done so already, click the link in the description or scan the QR code. You're going to start off the game with a legendary, Karato, Ugo at 15, and then if you use the promo code Monkey King, you'll get some Wukong, and then starting on the 10th of April, if you log in every day through May 4th, you'll get another legendary. So you'll start off the game with 3 legendaries and one of the best epics in the game. You said it's the best epic in the game. I would disagree, but without a doubt, top 5, easily top 5.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of it's so hard to say which one's the best because they all do something different, but there are other ones like Deacon Armstrong. Use him everywhere. You know, Demithia, which I just got, amazing. So there's so many good ones. All right, head over to Dulom's channel and we'll have a debate over Sun Wukong and Supreme Gallic. Bye for now.